Hello, Real Writers. It's Sunday, time for your Journal with Me session, which is a weekly journaling session we do for 10 minutes based on readings of cards that I pull from my many decks. And this week I'm going back to one of my favorites, Colette Reid's Enchanted Map Oracle card deck. So welcome if you're new. And thanks for coming back if you've joined me before. We have crossed the 6-month mark, which for me is like amazing. Okay, let's get started with the cards. And let me just scooch these over a little bit. And I have with me today some, she drops it very loudly, some celestite. It's a pretty blue color. It looks gray, but it's a pretty blue color. And let me tell you what celestite means. There's this wonderful store near me that has raw crystals, not tumbled, and I'm finding myself drawn to raw crystals now, not tumbled, which I've been collecting for years, and all of a sudden now I want crystals in their raw form. Celestite is called the Serenity Stone. It provides one with hope and faith, connects to wisdom of the divine realms, aids one in developing a sense of knowing who they are physically and spiritually, protects against negative energy, stimulates spiritual development, spiritual elevation, purity of the heart, and good fortune. Well, those are all good things. I think we can agree. Let's start from this side, just to shake things up. This card is Spark. I'll pull it back so you can see it a little bit. See the drawing? So pretty. I love the artwork in these decks, in Colette's decks. That doesn't contradict what I just said earlier. It just means I like landscapes more. I like cards that include landscapes more, so I can picture myself in some sort of other world, other landscape. So, the message of Spark. You are a clear channel for divine creativity. Fantastic. So today's session should be a piece of cake for you. All you have to do is be a channel for divine creativity, okay? Easier said than done, right? I mean, it's a wonderful thing to hear, but it's easier said than done. Hopefully we can open that up a little bit, that door for you a little bit today. There is a spark of creativity in you, and you have every reason to move forward with optimism and hope. Open yourself to inspiration and allow life to show you its beauty and your part in co-creating it. This is the perfect time to give birth to an idea, start a new relationship or job, or begin any endeavor. Attraction is high as you connect with others who can co-create joyous experiences and join with you in expressing the finer aspects of life. Watching a spark turn into a flame and stoking that fire is a gratifying activity. So this card talks about connecting with others who can co-create joyous experiences and join with you in expressing the finer aspects of life. Sure, absolutely, you can do that. What I get from this card, though, is more creating for yourself. Spending that time enjoying the process of creating, enjoying what comes out of it, enjoying expressing yourself for yourself in your own heart and your mind and your imagination, without anyone else to influence you or inhibit you, and to just enjoy it for the sake of creating. This is a 7 card. The number's 34. When you add those together, that's 7. And 7 is more about introspection and solitude and not isolation in the negative sense, but, sort of going inward and seeking information and knowledge and intuition and from, all of that from within. So while if you might be, maybe you're an extrovert and you're thinking, yes, I play music, I'm joining an orchestra. Sure, go, or creating a little quartet or whatever. Sure, go ahead. Or getting a bunch of people and going to a concert. Absolutely do that. But for me, maybe it's because I'm an introvert, but also this person is playing alone. She's not playing with a lot of other people. There's some butterflies around her, but it's not like she's in a group playing with anyone. I'm seeing this as a celebration of her own creativity, her own imagination, the act of creating, and that's creating this wonderful aura of colors around her, um, and she seems very lost within, lost inside of herself, and that's what I'm seeing in this card. So maybe you haven't had this time for yourself to do that. Whatever you do that's creative, you don't have to be a writer to do these videos at all. Journaling does not require any training, anything like that. And no one's going to see your journal, so don't worry about that. If you worry about that, you can certainly lock it away. But it's the place for you to express yourself, and maybe this card is a call to really do that in your journaling today. Really express yourself more fully with more color and more passion, and to listen to your intuition more. So if you, in your journaling today, maybe consider what lights you up, what you would like to do that you're afraid to share with people, that you feel people might judge you for, but you're very passionate about. Maybe you love to dance, maybe you love to sing, and you want to take voice lessons, or you want to take a dance class. These things don't have to be because you're training to do them as a career. They can be because you love to do them, and they make you happy, and they make you feel fulfilled and whole as a person, and that's what life is about. So if you want to take a dance class, go take a dance class. Who cares? Where I live, there are belly dancing classes that I keep wanting to take. They just keep happening at the wrong time, like when I'm starting a new job, and so I can't. But eventually, I am going to get to that belly dancing class, and it's totally for people who are not training to be belly dancers or anything. It's just for the enjoyment of it and pushing the envelope a little bit, and it sounds really fun. And a celebration of the body as well, and yourself, and so I'm going to take that class eventually, next time it's offered. They just finished one while I was starting a new job, so it should be within the next 6 months or so that I see another one. Go out there and look around for something that makes you excited, and then don't, in the next second, I guarantee you, in the next second you feel excited about it, you're going to come up, there's going to be this, hand around your heart squeezing, going, oh, but this person's going to judge me, or this will look stupid, or I can't afford it, or there's going to be all these reasons. So, obviously if you can't afford it, don't do it. I mean, we don't want to put you in the red so you can't pay your bills, but maybe set a little bit aside for a while until you can afford it, or find, I don't know, videos on YouTube or something online that you can do for free that will teach you to do the thing you want to do. I guarantee you there are voice lesson videos on YouTube, or dance lesson videos on YouTube. There's everything on YouTube. So, or you can find a program where you get a free trial for a week and you can try it and see if you like it, and then go on to a different one or whatever. So you can go to the library. You can join with a group of friends and just play around with art supplies, or do karaoke together in somebody's basement and dance around. Have some fun. I've been dying to go roller skating, so if anyone wants to go roller skating, let me know. I used to always have roller skating parties when I was younger, and I miss that. And so my next birthday, I might do a roller skating party. Let me know if you want to come. So just this card to me is about celebrating you, celebrating the spark of creativity for you, and that your life needs more spark and more color, and you are aware of this, but you need to step outside of this bubble where you are worried about what other people think, or that you can't afford it, or that you're too old, or that you'll look stupid, or whatever, because it doesn't matter. That's living according to what other people think. That's the Facebook life, right? Where you're curating your life for other people instead of living your life for yourself. I think I'm going to leave that there. Okay, let's go on to number 2. Ooh, storm fields. There we go. That's really cool. I'm sorry there's a glare. These cards are very shiny. I like matte cards better, so that's just the one thing I might the one negative thing I might say about these cards is there's too much glare. So there's a house, there's this checkerboard path, and what is that? Those are toadstools, and I think there's a little fairy in there or a butterfly. There are always fairies and butterflies in her cards. So look, there's this house, and here comes a tornado right on top of the house. Okay, don't panic. This is card number 9, and number 9 is about endings and releasing. It's the end of the cycle of 1 through 9. If you follow like numerology, and there's a wonderful numerologist who I follow, Felicia Bender, and Felicia is spelled with an F as in Frank, and she does your monthly numerology reading according to your life path, and you can also just find out your other numbers. And your life path number, by the way, is your birthday, month, and day, plus the current year. So you add all of those numbers up together, and that will give you your life path number. And I believe she does reduce 11 and 22 to 2 and 4. But I think she also has a reading for 11/2, 22/4. So if you get those numbers, I think you can get those readings on her website. You can sign up for them, and they come every month. And it's really, I don't know, I find it really interesting. And you move through a cycle, 1 through 9, and then after 9, you start back over again. And she often gives readings for the world. The year, like 2019, is reduced to oh Lord, I'm going to make me do math, a 3. This year is a 3, I believe, yes. Because it reduces to 12, and that's a 3. 2020 will be a 4. And she has readings for that too. So it's interesting. She does readings for your house number and what that means. If you live in a house, 33 is the number of your house. That's a 6. And how you can change the energy of your house or the vibration of your house based on changing the number of your house. Not literally, but inside your door, you could hang another number to make it a different number. So very, very interesting stuff. I'm going down a rabbit hole here. Sorry. So very, very interesting. But 9 is endings. So this doesn't literally mean that there's going to be a tornado. Let me adjust this a little bit. The screen wasn't showing you all the cards. This is a metaphor, so don't worry. Let me find number 9. I felt actually excited to see this card. So for what it's worth, I felt excited. I love a good storm. Okay, not a tornado that causes destruction, but I just mean, if you took away this tornado and you just had this storm clouds and rain and thunder and lightning and wind, I don't know, I love that kind of stuff, especially in the summer. And so I found this exciting because it has the energy. A good storm clears the air, right? And it brings rain and it cleans things away, and it allows for seeds to move and earth to move. Not, of course, I'm not saying I think floods and mudslides are wonderful. I don't mean it like that. But it creates movement and an instant change in a matter of, 5 minutes or less even sometimes. And it just clears the air, especially if it's a super hot day and then it rains, and it can cool things off by a great deal. There have been summer days where things were cooled after a thunderstorm by like 20 degrees. So it's fascinating. So the message of this card is, this too shall pass. And this talks about an uncomfortable chaos, which you may be experiencing. You can see in this card that the tornado is not in the middle of destroying the house. It's just sort of hovering over and leaning on the house, but the house is still intact. So again, metaphor. An uncomfortable chaos is surrounding you. Things that you've left unattended may be the cause of some conflict. Pent-up energy needs release, just as a storm in nature must break. For these events occur when the electricity between opposing forces stirs things up and creates temporary disorder. Not all storms are destructive. Rather, they serve nature by bringing rain to the ground and wind to the trees, enabling seeds to be widely distributed and continuous growth to be ensured. Just remember that whatever is being stored up inside you or between you and another will benefit you later. The sun will shine again, and new growth will be observed. Don't be afraid to shake things up a little. So yeah, if you're resisting this card, don't. I know that's really easy to say, but just don't. Just for the duration of this, if you want to pick this card, and in my suggestion is be brave and take a risk and pick this card. If it's making you uncomfortable, that might be a sign that this is your card. You may have picked number 2, and I'm leaving all the cards open this time versus turning them back around. But you pick number 2, but if you are looking at this later and you picked 3, and now you see card number 2 that I just turned around, you see this too, and you're drawn to it, it makes you uncomfortable, maybe instead of 3, this is your card. Or maybe you look at 3 and 2 together and see. But what I would say is, just for the duration of this video, this time together, 10 minutes of journaling, just surrender to this. If you could orchestrate a storm to come in and sweep away everything that's driving you crazy and holding you back and pushing you down and making you afraid, and the people who are, the people and the places and the things, right? It could be your house, for example, your material possessions, even your clothes that are enclosing you or suffocating you in an identity or a world or a life that no longer feels like yours. If you could orchestrate this, very well-timed, specific kind of storm to come in and just take away that specific thing that's making you feel exhausted and not like you and stuck or whatever, what would that be? Right? What would that be, and what would you do? Alternatively, if you are experiencing chaos right now and it just feels like it goes on, and I've been through that period recently, I get it. It might be helpful to just write it down. Write down all the chaos that's happening in a list, and then write down all the feelings that go with that. Even if you're just writing, I hate this 50 times in the 10 minutes, that's fine too. That's what this is for, whatever you need. Just make sure that at the end of whatever you're writing, just write, I release this chaos, or I release, whatever you want to say. You release, or just write, I release, because this is a 9 card and this is about releasing and ending. So whatever's been going on for you, it's ending. It's going to be ending now, and it's time for it to end. And you also play a role in that ending. So you don't just sit back and go, cool, it's ending, and now just sit back. No, you are a part of this process. So what can you do to contribute to that ending? What steps can you take to wrap things up? Look ahead. What might be forming as a new beginning? What can you take steps toward that would be a new beginning for you? What are you interested in? Start looking behind the 9 here. Start looking beyond the ending to cleaning up, clearing out. What can you do to help make this happen and change your mindset and embrace it? So that's where I would go with number 9, the storm fields. And our last card, education. That's so pretty. I always read in a strapless ball gown type of dress, don't you? That's the only way I can read. I have to be all dressed up like that. So education. And this is 8. If you add it together, the infinity number, the number of balance and abundance. It's really 35, but when you add that together, it's 8. So let's find 35. I always go right past the card I want. Okay, here we go. Life is filled with lessons. Be teachable. Wisdom comes from participating in life, not just reading about it. This card suggests that you might not have enough knowledge about what you seek, the direction to take, your circumstances, or the nature of your inquiry. Important information is coming. Now is the time to go to school, ask a person who might know more than you do, or find a teacher or a course of study so that you can more clearly understand what the next right action must be. Sometimes life unexpectedly sends you to an unfamiliar school, sort of in quotation marks, and you must learn by experience. Now is the time to be teachable, open to changing your preconceived notions. Be a student and be willing to state the most powerful mantra of all, I don't know yet. So this goes really well with storm fields. This goes really well with all of these cards, but these all go together well, which I often find. But remember, I just mentioned that if you pulled number 3, if you chose number 3, and you see the storm fields card, if you're just coming to number 3 via the timestamp, I mentioned a short time ago for the people who chose number 2, the storm fields, that if you are looking at the storm fields card and you're kind of drawn to it, that perhaps you might include this card in your journaling today. Or you could do all 3, but I'm just mentioning that you might include storm fields, which is risky and uncomfortable, or it might be exciting. I thought of this card as exciting, personally. I don't mean destruction is exciting. Remember, this is a metaphor, but you might include it in your journaling today. And, this card is saying be teachable, be open to, let me go back to this one sentence that made me feel like these are connected. Sometimes life unexpectedly sends you to an unfamiliar school and you must learn by experience. And school is it's not in quotation marks in the book, but that's what it means. So here, life can unexpectedly throw you these curveballs of endings and chaos, large or small. One small thing can create a good deal of chaos. It doesn't have to be large events. And you have to be teachable to the lesson of these events and this chaos. And you have to be teachable and to the changes that come in life, or be able to be taught by the changes that come in life. Life is an education. It's an education all along. We're learning, we're growing, we're changing. We're taking what we learn and we're embracing it and incorporating it and moving on. You're not the same person you were when you were in grade school. We're always learning, whether it's things we read on the internet or whether we go to school or something we read in a book, hear on the news, hear from people at a party, over here on a bus, on a train. You're always listening and learning. Education isn't just about what's in books, despite this image. It's about life experiences and what they teach you and who you become from that. So, and no matter what, it always is going to elevate you in some way. Education and training and learning and lessons and, change and chaos. So what might you be learning from whatever's happening in your life that the Storm Fields card brings up? And again, this might also be as simple as maybe you've been being the armchair astronaut kind of thing. That's another one of Colette's cards in another deck. It's referred to, it's not called that. And maybe you're spending too much time in that world and you're not getting real life experiences. So you need to go out and get up from the chair, put the book down, and go out and actually live the life instead of reading about it. So you might consider that. But going back to the first card here, Spark, which for me came up, what came up for me was individual, intuitive, internal, imaginative self-expression for yourself, to express yourself, for the joy of that and the process of that and the experience of that, not for other people, but because of how it will color your life and brighten your life. And of course that can come with the idea of education, learning something that makes you happy. I talked about taking dance lessons or voice lessons or just playing around with art supplies or whatever you consider your creativity, or it makes you creative, or what you're drawn to is fine. Redecorating a house, painting a room. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be art with a capital A. So I don't mean it like that. But whatever creates a creative spark for you. That can involve leaping into something you know nothing about and then you're scared to try, but you're also excited to try. And go find a teacher. Go watch lessons on YouTube. Go take a course online. Go to take a course in an actual school. Oh my gosh, that would be great, right? We do so much online. It's learning in person in a school with a teacher and other participants. Taking some kind of workshop somewhere is a whole other experience, and it's really wonderful. And you meet new people. Um, Often doing these things can also change your life in unexpected ways. It can sort of stir things up for you and create a wave of change that you weren't prepared for. Maybe suddenly you decide what you have been doing creatively you want to do for a living, and that sets off a whole chain of events that can change your entire life and create some chaos and some upheaval to the secure life and routine that you got used to. I mean, in the Stormfields card here, there's a house, security, home. And this can change all of that so that things feel ungrounded and unstable for a while. And you just have to ride that out. If that's what you want to do, isn't it better to take that risk? Of course, do your homework, right? Education. Learn what you need to learn to make the best choices and take the best steps forward. Don't just say, "Oh, I'm going to quit my job today," and that's it. If you have a house and a car and kids or a dog or whatever, you have responsibilities and you have bills. So, within reason. So, consider these cards and which you're most drawn to, or whether you'd like to do two cards together or all three cards, whatever. And we are going to journal for 10 minutes. And I apologize for how long this video already is. These cards are very, very inspiring to me personally. So I felt like I had a lot to say today. So let's journal. That's our 10 minutes. I hope some good things came up for you and you feel like you moved forward in some way or had some insight, especially if you're seeking spark. I wish that for all of us, this wonderful spark card with all its color and magic and butterflies and hearts. I hope that this journaling brings that for you either today or in future. And I hope you'll join me again next week. If you have any comments or questions or suggestions for questions we can ask in journaling or decks that you like and you'd like to suggest, I have a major deck addiction. I am addicted to oracle decks and tarot decks and all of that. So I am happy to go out and purchase a new deck. That is not a problem. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely rest of your Sunday and a wonderful coming week, and happy writing.